Okay, guys, we are back with Unit 8 and looking at the introduction to right triangles and trigonometry in Unit 8. If you remember correctly, when you have a right triangle, we refer to the two sides that make the right triangle as the legs, and the side that's across from the right angle, we call it the hypotenuse. And the hypotenuse will always be the longest side because it's across from the largest angle, right? So our Pythagorean theorem, if you remember, states that if you take one of the legs squared plus the other leg squared, it is going to equal the hypotenuse squared. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, and we're going to use that theorem to solve for missing side lengths of a right triangle. So on this first example, it's a leg that we're missing, so we would say x squared plus the other leg, which is 8. 8 squared equals 10 squared, and we're just going to solve for x. Subtract your 64 over and you get x squared equals 36. Take the square root of both sides and you're going to get x equals 6. Okay, on the second one over here, we're going to be looking for the hypotenuse because it's the side across from the right angle. So it's going to be side squared plus side squared equals hypotenuse squared. And we're going to solve for x again. We get 36 plus 4 equals x squared. So 40 equals x squared. Take the square root of both sides, and we get square root of 40. And then if you simplify that in your calculator, you'll get 2 square root of 10 equals x. Okay. On this next example down here, they're talking about a multi-purpose room that is a square. So if we have a square room, and they say the diagonal of the room, so this length here connecting the corners is 40 yards, and they want the side length of the room. Okay, so since it's a square, we know that the side lengths are the same. So when we set up the Pythagorean theorem, we can set up x squared plus x squared equals 40 squared. Okay, which means we'll have 2x squared equals 1600, which means divide both sides by 2, we get x squared equals 800. So if you take the square root of both sides, you're going to get x equals 20 square root of 2, which if you simplify, use your calculator to simplify, you'll get 28.3 yards. Before you move on to the independent practice, I would like you to try it on your own. So go ahead and pause the video, and then you can check your work against mine. So on this one, on the independent practice, it says a right triangle has a leg of 5 and a hypotenuse of 10. So if we draw a right triangle, not necessarily drawn to scale because I don't know if 5 is the shortest or longest side, but we're going to go ahead and put 5 here and 10 on the hypotenuse, and we're looking for x. So x squared plus 5 squared, that's a funky looking 5. X squared plus 5 squared equals 10 squared. Subtract your 25 over, take the square root of both sides, and we end up with x equals the square root of 75, which once you put into your calculator, you'll get 5 square root of 3.